Yo, what's up everyone? It's your boy Logan or Logs, and in this video I'm kind of going over what I do to find cheap cars to either daily drive or B, sell for a profit. You just need the willpower and a basic set of hand tools and some knowledge, or a mentor that's going to take you in and show you how to do things. A buddy that knows what he's doing, and you're willing to decide on who splits what. And obviously you need resources, but you don't need a shop, you don't need a garage. But at the end of the day, this is a grind. It's not for the weak. Sometimes you get screwed over. You got to know what to look for. Make sure to subscribe. We are daily uploading. Let's get over to the computer and see exactly how I filter through everything that's out there. All right, before we get into this, I just want to say that this is information I'm just putting out there. Make sure you do your research. There's a lot that goes into this stuff, and just it takes a lot to find a deal on one of these cars and execute. So just make sure you know what you're getting into. I'm not telling you guys that you should do this. Obviously, if you have the resources, the skills, and the time, you know, it's just something you can get into. Either A, sell the vehicle, or B, keep it and just have a nice, cheap daily driver without paying a ridiculous amount. But I'm going to get into how exactly I filter through and find the best deals on Marketplace. Obviously, this is a great tool right now. And first things first, you have to be quick. You have to have the money in hand, and you have to be able to get the vehicle, right? So like either truck and trailer, you know a guy, you know a buddy with a truck and trailer, you have one. Or worst case, you can rent one from U-Haul. It's like 150 bucks, maybe 200 bucks, and you can include that in the cost. So first things first, obviously price filters are going to be your best friend. So let's say this just depends on how much money you're willing to spend. Let's say right off rip, 1,700 bucks, and we get, I like to do years of like 2010 and up, just because that's the new stuff. That's what's, newer. That's where cars' values are worth more. A lot of the older stuff nowadays is kind of, it's the work you're going to put in, it's not worth it. This is where it gets kind of confusing. So I like to filter by make, because it all depends on what you're comfortable with. If you're not experienced, find someone who is, ask them what they prefer, like what cars they prefer working on, and just kind of ask them to be your mentor, right? And see if they're willing to help out. A lot of this stuff does require a lot of knowledge and tools and skills, like I said. So if you don't have those, find someone who does. Your uncle, your cousin, your best buddy, who knows, right? Just find someone and see if they're willing to, help you out, and you'll give them a cut of the pay if you sell the car, or if you decide to keep the car, just pay them outright and include it in your cost, right? But that way everyone's kind of winning. You're learning, they're teaching you, they're helping you, and they still get some kind of money out of it. So for me, I like to stick with Hondas. They're easy. I know a lot about them, obviously, if you watch the channel. So let's filter it by Honda. And obviously you can adjust your radius. If you don't want to drive that far, you can go within, you can go to like 200 miles, 250 miles, 500 miles if you want to drive and make a road trip out of it. I don't recommend that because it's just more fuel. So right off rip, obviously we got some shitters. Right now there's not much, and that's the problem. Right now the economy's kind of whack, but it's still possible, right? You just got to be ready. Got to be ready to pull the trigger. Obviously avoid scams. Like, you got to use your brain. All this is going to require you guys to use your brains. 3 of the cars posted the same. This is a nice Accord for 1,200 bucks. Do you guys think that's going to be legit? And runs and drives great. Yeah. Get out of here. Like, that's not going to happen. If it does, you're not going to see 5 of the same ads, like, so just be aware of that. There are people with malicious intent. Obviously, this looks super cool, right? It catches your eye, but look at this, 1,000 down. Yeah, so avoid the down payment listings. It's literally all depends, right? So like, this one is, it's pretty clapped, but let's just say if we were doing this one, here's how we'd go about it. Right, OBO does not run, needs work. If it doesn't run, it could, worst case, be an engine. And then, so if I were to figure out
if I were to do this car, it'd be like this, right? So it's a 2010 R18 car. Right off rip, we need a bumper. We got to fix the back trunk, probably some tires. So that right there is like, I don't know, let's say like $500. And that's not even fixing what's wrong with it. It's got some new parts, which is cool. So here's what I would do if I was doing this hypothetically. I would open up a doc and break down price points for like new tires, brakes, you know, stuff like that. If you really want to get into that, I would simply just open another tab, get back on Marketplace, right? And I would search 2010 Civic. And this is where you're gonna kind of gauge the market value of this car, right? So, all right, so obviously we would compare. This is a pretty decent car, not too bad for the miles. 150,000 miles. That's low, and this thing's going for $3 grand. So that's a no-go, because you can find no one's gonna. The amount of money you're gonna put into that other car, it's not gonna be worth it. I mean, here's one really low mileage going for 6. So the amount of money you got to put into this one wouldn't be worth it, especially if it needs an engine. That's what brings me back to another point, is I would search R18 engine and just see worst case we'd need an engine. So, you know, it'd probably be something like this, $400. That's not terrible, but it's just something to keep in mind that worst case it would need a long block, and $400 get you one off Marketplace. I prefer to buy off junkyards because they have a warranty, but basically that's all it comes down to, is just comparing and contrasting and seeing if what you might have to put into this car is going to be worth it. Obviously these Hondas don't bring a lot of money when they're older, so if you did this with, like, if you were really knowledgeable, you did it with German cars, this could make you a lot of money, or just bring you a really nice car for really cheap if you can. Yeah, like I said, obviously this requires tools and everything, so just make sure you know what you're getting into. And this is kind of just my strategy of how I go about picking cars and how to find the best deal. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.